Welcome to Video Evolution. Evolution in the world of videos. Today we are going to start with a chapter of Diary of a Young Girl for the month September for the year 1942. On 2nd September, Anne wrote that Mr. and Mrs. Van Daan had a terrific quarrel. Peter has to stand by. No one takes him seriously. Peter is a hypochondriac. All was not good between Mrs. Frank and Mrs. Van Daan. They were using dinner set of Mrs. Van Daan as they were not accessible. Anne broke one of the soup plates and Mrs. Van Daan became angry. Anne's father did not get angry with her. Anne also wrote that Margot and Peter were allowed to read almost all the books that Mrs. Coffey's land them, however, particularly one book on subject of women were held back by grown-ups. Peter became curious to read it. He read the book but didn't told anyone till his father found out and snatched away the book. Now Peter became more curious. At 7:30 in evening, Peter took the book again when everyone was listening to radio. He should be downstairs at 8:30. But as the book was so thrilling, he forgot the time. His father reached there and snatched away the book with a slap. He was not given dinner that day. On September 21st, Anne wrote that she gets blows-ups from Mrs. Van Daan for her continuous chatter. She also don't wash the pan if a single fragment is left. Anne read books and discuss with her dad about his family tree. She also listens Dutch news, work on French and read new social books which arrived. Anne don't like psychology and philosophy. When Mrs. Van Daan asked Anne if she could read her diary, but Anne refused and closed it. She did this because there was not a good description of her in this diary. On 25th September, Anne wrote that she went to Van Daan's for a chat and told them that Peter stroked her cheeks often. Van Daan asked if Anne could start liking Peter, but she refused. To give a sign of being alive, Mr. Frank wrote a reply which came from Newsland in his own handwriting. On 27th September, Anne wrote that she had a burst up with his mother. Margot's and her mother nature is strange to her. Mrs. Van Daan is moody and keeps hiding her private belongings. Anne's mother and father always defended her and are lenient with her. Anne don't like vegetables much and Mrs. Van Daan forces her to eat them until his father rescue her. On September 28, Anne wrote that she was not able to complete yesterday because of a quarrel. She believes that grown-ups quarrel easily on idiotic things. She becomes subject of every quarrel or fight. In all the quarrels, Anne is insulted and she don't like it. The day before a discussion on Mr. Frank's nickname, Primrose, Mrs. Van Daan called herself unassuming and at end she was so embarrassed. She defended herself and a statement for defense made Mrs. Anne Frank laugh. Anne was shaking her head sorrowfully when Mrs. Van Daan saw her. Anne called this situation a marvelous sight. On September 29, Anne wrote about problems they face in bathing. The availability of hot water is a great luxury. Every person has found a place to take bath. Actually, they don't take bath but use a washtub for scrub. Mrs. Van Daan do not bath as she is not able to find a place to bath. Anne used to scrub in front office, but now she scrubs in office. She didn't like the old place. Anne also told about plumber's visit because of which they were not allowed to use washroom. They used glass jars for excretion and it was difficult to do that. Thank you. For more videos, please subscribe.